This is WTOL 11 News Now at noon.
And welcome into WTOL 11 News Now at noon. I'm Allie Bradley. Thanks for joining us. America paused this morning on the 14th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. Nearly 3,000 people died in New York, Washington, D.C., and Shanksville, Pennsylvania when terrorists struck. Marley Hall has a story from Lower Manhattan in New York.
The first bell rang at 8:46, the moment American Airlines Flight 11 slammed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. For family members who return to Ground Zero year after year, emotions are still raw. 2,753 people died when both towers of the World Trade Center collapsed.
If I were to have one wish in this world, it would be to meet my dad.
Many clutched photos of their loved ones as the names of the victims were read.
Michael George Archinsky.
14 years after the attacks, Lower Manhattan is rebuilt and thriving again. But New Yorkers and visitors say they will always treat this area as hallowed ground.
When I'm down here, I constantly think about it. I look at what's going on now, and it's a great sense of pride.
At the White House, President and Mrs. Obama paid tribute to the victims. There was also a ceremony at the Pentagon where 184 people died, and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where passengers and crew fought back against the terrorists and brought down United Flight 93 before it could reach Washington. At Ground Zero, families and friends visit the two reflecting pools and rub the names of their loved ones, determined to fulfill their promise to never forget. Marley Hall, CBS News, New York.
And across the nation, flags were lowered and ceremonies held to remember one of the darkest days in American history. Coming up tonight at 6, we take you to some of the most hallowed ground in the country. Our Tim Miller visits the Flight 93 Memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Exhibits there show how the passengers decided to do something, giving their lives to prevent another strike on America. A memorial plaza was built lining that 40-acre crash site. You can read about what happened and walk with other Americans and people from all across the world reflecting on their sacrifice. It's a story you don't want to miss, happening tonight at 6. And 14 years after the attacks, thousands of responders and survivors continue to suffer chronic health problems after being exposed to toxins at Ground Zero. Many survivors have been diagnosed with asthma, reflux disease, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Survivors have found help at the World Trade Center Environmental Health Center, which is treating nearly 8,500 survivors. Many lived, worked, or went to school in that area.
This population was often being forgotten in terms of their World Trade Center exposures, or they often felt like they were not the heroes, that the responders were the heroes, and therefore they were not deserving of care.
Because of the treatment, many survivors say they are doing better. And Toledo Fire and Rescue are honoring the fallen today during their 3rd annual pancake breakfast. Every year, the fundraiser brings in more and more money for the Toledo Firefighter Foundation. The money helps firefighters who have long-term illnesses who are in need of financial help. If you do want to support TFD, head downtown to their headquarters at 545 North Huron. But you better hurry. The breakfast ends at 1. And other big events are planned right here in Northwest Ohio as we mark that 14 years since the 9/11 terrorist attacks. In Tiffin, a flag was raised and flown at half-staff starting at 8:45 this morning. That's the exact time the first jetliner slammed into the World Trade Center. Later tonight at 7:30, the flag will be returned to full staff. In Ottawa Hills, the 9/11 Wall of Remembrance is now on display at the Memorial Park through September 30th. It lists the names of those who lost their lives during the terror attacks. The park is located at the intersection of Central Avenue and Talmadge Road. And the American Red Cross will also be honoring the victims and heroes of 9/11, and you can help out here. The nonprofit is holding blood drives around the area that will run through the weekend. Today in Monroe County, a drive will be held until 5 at the Monroe Fire Hall on South Dixie Highway. Then in Temperance, Our Lady of Mount Carmel on Lewis Avenue will have one starting at 12:30, so in just a couple minutes. And in Wood County, Zor Lutheran Church in Perrysburg will hold a blood drive running until 6 today. And rain is moving into the area, but could it ruin some of your outdoor plans? We do want to go out live with Kimberly Newman, who's over just across the street at that Greek American Festival. And Kimberly, that's not the only thing going on today.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Being out at the Greek American Festival is certainly one of the luckier assignments I've got here. Friday afternoon, the line behind me for the food is just massive, and you can see all these people waiting on those gyros and this delicious Greek food. Now, of course, I did have to step away from the radar here at the noon hour, but with your phone, you can always log on to our StormTrack Doppler app and watch the radar right along with us as showers are arriving this afternoon. Some very light sprinkles right now here in downtown Toledo. And when I get back in the studio, I will have all the details for you of what is exactly going to come our way for the rest of your Friday afternoon. You can head on out here to the German American Festival all weekend long. For now, I'm reporting live in downtown Toledo.
Sounds like she's having fun out there. Thanks so much, Kimberly. Now to the latest in protecting our water here in Toledo. The water is still safe to drink today. Let's take a look here at that city's water quality dashboard. We are still out of watch here. That just means that there's microcystin being found in the raw lake water near that intake, but I can say this again, no signs that toxic algae have been found in our drinking water. If anything at all changes with the water, we will be the first to let you know. Of course, we'll bring it to you on air, online, on our news app, and social media pages. Again, that water is safe to drink this afternoon. 2 people have now been named suspects in the murder investigation of a Sandusky County woman. Omar Satchel and Kiana Bohr have previously been named persons of interest in the Heather Bogle murder investigation. Satchel is already in prison for a weapons-related offense in Detroit. Police think those weapons may possibly be related to Bogle's death. You'll recall the 28-year-old Bogle was found beaten and shot to death in the trunk of her car in Clyde back in April. Before her death, Bogle had been last seen leaving work at Whirlpool. She was reported missing when she didn't pick up her 5-year-old daughter. Right now, the other suspect in this investigation, Kiana Bohr, has not been arrested. Anyone with information on this case is, of course, asked to call the Sandusky County Sheriff's Office at 419-332-2613. And to new details now out of Monroe County this afternoon. A man is accused of attacking his grandmother. He's now facing felony charges. 30-year-old Ronald Graves was arraigned on a charge of assault with intent to do murder earlier this week. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office says Graves lured his grandmother into the bathroom while she was attacked and stabbed in the neck and face. Now, when deputies arrived, they found Graves in the bathtub with his hands hidden. He was then shot in the face when he lifted his hands in a threatening manner. He did not have a weapon. An investigation into the shooting says the deputies acted in self-defense. And this woman, take a look here. This is 26-year-old Alexandra Cousineau. She's behind bars this afternoon. She was arrested yesterday and has been charged with robbing a pharmacy in South Toledo. Here's some surveillance video from Kaler Pharmacy back in June. Police say Cousineau entered the store, pointed a gun at employees, and demanded oxycodone. Now, they were looking for a man initially, but they say Cousineau's DNA was a match on a hat that was left at the crime scene. And right now, an overnight fire under investigation in West Toledo. Firefighters, they were busy at the scene of Phillips near Detroit Avenue. We are told the building was vacant and boarded up. Passers-by could see heavy smoke pouring from that building. That building was once a nightclub. And 2 Michigan state lawmakers are now out of office after being involved in an affair. Todd Corser resigned early this morning. Shortly after his resignation, state lawmakers voted to expel Cindy Gamrat from office. Both were accused of misusing state resources for personal reasons, including having their staff lie about their whereabouts to help them cover up their affair. And a few new endorsements for Issue 1 here in Toledo. The NAACP and the Farm Labor Organizing Committee announced today that they're backing Issue 1. It's the Sensible Marijuana Ordinance. The issue makes its appearance on the September 15th ballot. The initiative has already received endorsements from several organizations in Toledo.
We're not trying to say that there shouldn't be penalties, but the penalties that we have impact people's lives forever.
Issue 1 is a marijuana decriminalization bill specific to Toledo, not to be confused with Issue 3, which is a statewide marijuana legalization matter that will be on the ballot come November 3rd. And we already took you out to the Greek Fest this afternoon, but also happening this weekend, the Black Swamp Arts Festival is taking over the streets of Bowling Green. Thousands are expected to attend this free festival, yes, rain or shine. This year, Black Swamp boasts even more youth art activities and new bands. Organizers say this is Ohio's best free arts and music festival.
We're ranked 67th nationally, which is a big deal for us. And If you've been here before, we're going to bring back it's the same quality as every year. We have amazing bands, and if you've never been here before, this is really something to experience.
Now, with all the people expected to attend, organizers do recommend using their shuttle system from 4 nearby parking lots. The festival kicks off tonight at 5. It'll run all the way through Sunday. And a violent criminal is on the loose in Arizona after authorities have their hands full with a rash of highway shootings. We'll have the very latest. Plus, wildfires continue to burn out of control in California as a wildfire sanctuary is being threatened. Also, new poll numbers come out as CNN announces the lineup for the next set of Republican debates. One person's climbing in the polls. They haven't even joined the presidential campaign. We have all the details coming up next.